So I was debating whether or not how to link this into the rest, but I now I've completely lost my flow. So I will now proceed to read this entire post because it's a post on Reddit and therefore it is extremely brief in nature and can be read in one sitting. Actually, no, we're not going to do that. I will sum up this entire post in 1 second. Okay, 1 second. I will sum up this 4,000 long post in a single second. Uh, Kubernetes replaced master slave with leader follower or some other gay technology or gay terminology, and as a result, it broke everything. So if you don't know, when the Hawat man invented the command line in the good old days of computers before the graphical user interface was created so that melanated people could also use computers and play Fortnite. We came up with some very quick, easy terms to use in computer programming that explained programming concepts very easily and efficiently. For instance, in a situation where in a replication where you have one main computer but several computers that simply replicate data to be read from, you have a master slave. That is the big one that everyone freaks out about, but also people freak out about this. This terminology predates computers, but for whatever reason, people freak out about it. If you have a list of things that are permitted, for instance, IP addresses, it's called a whitelist. So if you have a whitelist, that means that only things that are on the whitelist can get in. If you have a blacklist, that means that everything can get in except the things on the blacklist. Like, for instance, if you're banning IP addresses. Wow. So you're saying that white is positive, but black is negative? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's a racism. That's a colonialism. That's an imperialisms. You got some atoning to do, white man, for all your sinful terminology. So they have committed to replacing master slave with leader follower. They have replaced the master branch on Git with the main branch on Git, and they have replaced the terminology for white and blacklisting to allow and deny listing. So you're no longer whitelisted, you're allow listed. You're no longer blacklisted, you are deny listed. This is their genius thing. So when Kubernetes randomly decides that they're changing the terminology of their systems from master slave to whatever the fuck it is now, I guess leader follower. Surprise, the production applications which are using this technology suddenly break. And that is what happened, and it took Reddit off. God bless it, for 8 years. And what's really funny is that if you search like woke, so what you're saying is that Kubernetes going woke is what broke Reddit? Sarcasm. Like, people acknowledge that this is what it was, the issue that it was, and then they just say, just kidding. So the outage was caused by wokeism. Kidding. There is more. I think you have to like scroll to like load comments now, because that's how every fucking website on the planet works. So that was entertaining to me. That these easily avoided mistakes were introduced into computer programs because people don't want to offend. They don't want to offend black people who don't fucking program. I have been around in the industry, quote unquote, for like, I want to say for over 10 years now, because I've been programming since I was 18 in a professional capacity. I have never met a black programmer anywhere. I cannot name off the top of my head a single black programmer. I've met Indians, I've met Russians, I've met lots and lots of Asians, lots of people from South America, Hispanics that program. I literally cannot think of a single black programmer who, and if you think about like what kind of a black person would be programming, they're not going to be the type who are going to see. Wait, so you mean that you're using black in a negative context? Oh no. Oh, you're using slave? This computer is a slave? You trying to put me back in chains, honky, with your Confederate lingo? Like, come the fuck on. It just doesn't happen. But they're not that. Look, I'm just saying. I don't know a single one. That's just an anecdote. I know lots and lots of troons though. I don't know what's up with that. If you're from Australia and you program, there's like a 50-50 chance that you've cut off your penis or take bathtub estrogen. So, I don't know. That's all that is. Max for 15 says, leader follower is terminology used in NSDAP labor laws to replace manager employee. That's funny. You just can't escape it. Well, I'm sure that when they used it, it was the Führer. You gotta be careful of your team Führer. You gotta listen to what your Führer says when you're on a tour guide or something, or in a group project. You don't want to stray away from what the Führer has to say. OG Pray More Homie for 10 says, hey Juice, more music for you. YouTube playlist music. Also, my mom is the only black programmer I know. She is ghetto adjacent who was raised in South Central LA. She never complained about whitelist. Is my Neezy, is this a black Maddie listener? Are you the guy that sent me the playlist with all the like hip hop rap music? That was my main issue, or not rap music, but like gospel music. That was my main issue with it. I really feel that hip hop is like a very limited format because it's mostly like a heavy beat with like poetry over it, and sometimes it can be quite nice, but it feels very samey to me. I make an exception for Dance with the Devil by who did that? Immortal Technique. Immortal Technique's Dance with the Devil is a transcendental hip-hop song that is introspective and thoughtful. The piano classical music incorporation is one of the best. It's just an extremely solid song. But outside of rare songs like that, I'm not much of a fan for hip-hop. That is interesting, though. I guess it makes sense because if a black woman's programming, she's got to be smart, and then her kids are going to be smart, and they're going to super chat to my podcast. You dig? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Thank you. Bob Carter for 2 says, hey, you didn't read my last one. Anyways, I knew one black guy that could code. He also ran Hero System and Shadowrun, some fairly math-heavy TTRPGs. He was from New York City. I'm also fairly sure that Maximum Mike, the guy that made Cyberpunk 2020, knew how to code too. Well, based on Cyberpunk 2020, I would be skeptical that Maximum Mike knows how to code. I don't know anything about him. I'm just going off of that. And I'll take your word that you knew a black guy that knew how to play tabletop role-playing games. That's not really coding, though. Deadly Hollowed for 5 says, the only black programmer I know is Malcolm's black friend from Malcolm in the Middle. I've never seen Malcolm in the Middle either, but I'll take your word for it. Thank you.